This is the end of August, and that's the wrong episode. Yeah, so you know what time it is. Welcome once again to another episode of This is the End with the Xion Network's own Horsemen of the Apocalypse. For those of you who don't know, This is the End is a monthly review show where we try to shine a spotlight on the Xion Network and works being produced by it. We also do a quick recap of just things in the pop culture space that have resonated with us over the past month. So this month we're going to be focusing on a brand new webtoon comic published by the illustrious Nigel/Alan Lynch from Beyond Publishing, our guy, a show regular at this point. So this is his latest comic, and we are excited to get into it. But before we do that, for those of you who don't know, let me just give you a quick rundown of what the Xion Network is. The Xion Network is a comic book and pop culture group. It was started by Mr. Sean Allen in Philadelphia. Sean Allen is a Barbadian-born comic book artist. He moved to Philly and established the Xion Network to bring fellow creatives together. After coming back to Barbados and connecting with his Barbadian roots, he established the Barbados contingent of the Xion Network, Xion Network 246, and that's headed up by the illustrious, the amazing, the award-winning man himself, the leader of the Horsemen. It's your boy Mohz. So that's a bit about us. Before we get started, for those of you who are astute, you'll notice that we are 2 horsemen short. But don't worry, we're gonna just keep it pushing. And we're gonna
I'm wondering what happened these last couple of days, because like somebody actually fell into the volcano, came back out, and somebody went into the abyss. Then we had them string up somewhere all of a sudden, then what? We were 2 horsemen short.
These things happen, you know.
What
Sometimes horsemen just run the mouth, and they gotta learn the hard way. Well, don't worry, they'll be back. They'll be back
at some point.
Yeah. Wrath and chaos are eternal, so they'll be back. Don't worry about it. So let us, before we get started, let's each introduce ourselves, starting off with the man himself, Julian. Big up yourself.
Yes, guys. Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. My name is Julian L. Mosley, known as Mohz, spelled Mohz. I'm the horseman vengeance. When God said, "Let vengeance be mine," he talking about me because hey, he's the only one. I'm dressed in black. That's how it is. So yeah.
All right, that's perfect, short and sweet. Moving on to our resident stink moat dog, a man like Ian, aka Dracanima Art. Ian, big up yourself, buddy.
My name is Ian. Again, Trichadma Art. I am the Horseman of Death. Here claiming souls and just keeping it pushing. That's about it.
Keeping it short and sweet. That's what I like to see. And
Why not?
for those of you who don't know, it's your boy Roun, your resident horseman of war. I'm a hobbyist, writer, and illustrator, creator of Restoration Earth, and the mind behind this show. So, without further ado, let's get to the main event. Let's talk about Diary of the Stray Dogs, episode 8. Boom. So
So,
yeah, Diary of the Stray Dogs is a brand new IP coming from the mind of Mr. Nigel Lynch. It's currently available in online comic form on Webtoons. The link is down in the description. It's an episodic series of from the impression I'm getting, it's like an episodic series of one shots where you explore this futuristic sci-fi world, but beyond the sci-fi action, it also seems to tell deep personal stories, and it kind of fleshes out the world through the eyes of specific characters who are involved in a number of things. The main character, Douglas, is a member of COTF,
Yeah.
and yeah, he's just telling his story. So it's basically his diary. He's the stray dog. And yeah, we're going to get into the nitty gritty of it, but I'm excited to dive right in.
mm-hmm.
So, um, for those of you who don't know, we've reviewed a lot of stuff done by these particular artists. Diary of the Stray Dogs, I want to call it Volume 1, is out on Webtoon so far. It's the tragedy of Ruby Pixel. The story is done by Nigel Lynch. The art is done by Tristan Roach. All names that you'll be familiar with. But the cover, this ridiculous, that's not it. This ridiculous cover is
That
done
one.
by Matthew Clark, and I am loving it. It's sick. So these
Now,
are the usual suspects. Our guys from Beyond Publishing. You know them too well, so we won't waste any time. We're going to jump right in, and we're going to talk about our first category,
mhm.
the setting. So, men, who wants to get started on the setting of this show? Sorry, this comic.
Well, I'll let Ian do it first because he usually does the setting very well. As it being so much
Mm.
of a character he normally
Wow.
Oh,
sets in. So
Wow.
therefore,
We
I
I'll
gotta
just
let
be
him
the
have it.
we just don't let things go. We just
No,
really
I
love
don't.
bruh,
to
bruh.
really
We have
draw
to
this out,
admit,
right?
we gotta admit, we had
Yeah.
Matthew on the show last week, and Matthew himself
Last
said
month.
that he was sad
He
you
did.
weren't
Yep.
there
Yep.
because the man confirmed that the setting is a
Is
character. So
exactly.
you're winning this
But
one.
they
You're
said
winning
it
this
should
one.
always be, but as everyone decides to make sure to bring this up quite a bit, I'm like, all right, fair enough, no problem.
So yeah,
But
we'll
no,
let you go first.
I very much like the setting of Straight Down so far in terms of just laying out the world and fleshing out what the new well what Caribbean is like, or the little snippets what Caribbean is like in the future, and as well as laying out the virtual world. I thought that was a nice addition to the entire setup, but I'm looking forward to seeing some more of it. Um, the first volume gives us little snippets here and there. You start to just get a little idea of what the world is like so far, but it's very nice to me, especially the aerial shots that we get of the different cities and stuff like that so far. Especially
Mhm.
New Bridge, New Bridge, or I believe, or New Bridge Town, but New Bridge. Yeah, I thought that was a nice take on that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah,
that's
man.
just
So
yeah.
yeah, so I agree. I really like the setting. You don't see enough of it to me in I guess what would be considered volume one, which is
Hmm.
the tragedy of Ruby Pixel. We
Hmm.
we are we are in the WhatsApp group. We're in the exclusive Xion Network club. So for those of you who are not in the club, you haven't seen the additional content, but there's definitely some more coming out, and you're going to see a bit more of the world. And from what I'm seeing in this particular in these 5 episodes on the webtoon, you don't get to see a whole ton of the world. It's very grounded. It's very much like our world, but 100 years in the future. So VR is a bit more advanced. Technology is a bit more advanced, but nothing like really out there. Nothing that you wouldn't expect. Like nothing that doesn't have a basis in what we already have existing today. But it's the natural progression. So you see some cybernetics. So it's like you take our existing prosthetics from today and you kind of evolve them 100 years in the future, and you
Right.
get some cybernetics. You take things like OnlyFans and the HTC Vive or the Oculus Rift, like our existing VR technology, and you push the envelope of that. So then you have like a combination of this VR OnlyFans that our girl Ruby participates in, where you get to do all kinds of freaky, nasty things on the internet. What the internet was designed for, but
Porn.
no, you know it.
Plenty of porn.
But no, it's
The
Of porn.
internet
interactive
is for
and
the
in
internet is
3D
for
with touch sensitivity. You know, like full force feedback if you will have it. So yeah, man,
Yeah.
I think the setting is a nice imagining of where we will be 100 years in the future.
All right. So add
yeah.
to what you're saying too. Like, so imagine you have um Blade Runner setting, but it's more like
Mm.
Caribbean setting, and you have all these things running in between, like these different mercenaries and people who are actually doing bad works just for the sake of money. And still there's this real, because I love when Nigel does this real underneath nitty gritty feel of this tone of violence and different things that happen that people don't see on surface. He's really good at that, actually writing stuff like that, and characters, because plethora of characters he's created with his stuff that he had done before. And I find I mostly get into getting to like these characters more than the setting itself, because the setting we already know is there for me. But to me, I'm more character driven, so I love to see
Mhm.
like these characters and what they dive into and what they get into and what they do for a living. And sometimes I yeah, I'm really into like more characters than so. So when he does that, I'm like, okay, I can get behind this. I don't necessarily like this how he works with this one, but I can get behind this one too. So like different characters, I really like in here so far. And being that the storyteller is actually being part of the setting in, he tells it. He started to tell it. It give you the whole backstory of what happened before. Or this is his part of his story. So in between, so it's a seller
much
so
much
far.
like how you said Blade Runner 8. You know, made me think about it. Is like it's for me a combination of Blade Runner and Altered Carbon. Isn't
That's
that
right.
that's a
That
real
is a
nice
good
feel.
show.
That's a real
Yeah,
nice
yeah.
feel.
That's
Yeah, man. I feel like the Blade Runner thing is spot on, and then Altered Carbon. I feel like Altered Carbon is a good analogy for the tone,
hmm
which brings us
Yeah.
back to Nigel's previous works. I feel like this feels like the future of Life and Death in Paradise. Like Life and
correct.
Death in Paradise is very much it's
Yes.
exactly Barbados
hmm
today. Well, I guess
Yeah.
in the time it was written, with like very little change, and this seems like a very natural evolution of that. Like dark and gritty, people growing up in a bad spot and having to do things that they're not necessarily proud of just to make a living. It's very much in this vein that I feel like maybe Alan has settled into a niche. Sorry, Nigel. For those of you who are
hmm
not familiar, I'm gonna alternate between calling him Alan and Nigel because we use both names, and I don't know which
Always
one's the
forget.
right name. They're both right, but I don't know like
They're
which is his
both right.
preferred
Yeah.
title. So just go with it. Nigel and Alan are the same person. But yeah, so I
But no,
feel
you
like
feel it. No, you say the
So,
life and death part. There's future. Like imagine fat man coming out in that so suit.
bruh, look.
The
If
only
Fat Man
thing,
shows up in
bruh,
this, I'm giving it
I was
15 out of 10 for every single category. Real talk.
retro. The only
Show
thing I
me
was
my
just
boy
missing.
Eugene.
The only thing I just missing just Fat Man just showing up in some sort of skeleton suit, or actually have his head on a
Yeah.
skeleton, or detached from his body doing some other stuff, and then just coming back in. And then the only thing I'm missing
Yo.
here right now is the initially purple and yellow uniform. Obviously, we
She's on.
can't see with it. That's the only thing missing from
Mhm.
this whole setting. After that, we are straight good. We missing maps. We missing certain parts in the Caribbean, especially I don't know if they
You
got
want to see it?
I don't know if they probably got crop over at that point because I don't know. But even then,
You see maps as a scientific like a advanced food chain just all put
yeah,
together or something.
Make it yourself. A global brand.
global
A
Destined for
brand.
global
greatness.
man, it's true.
Also,
But
shout out to
maps are
my girl
crumbs.
Uniqua. Oh Lord, now
Crumbs.
Crumbs.
We
Crumbs
are,
is
yeah,
worldwide in the
Yeah.
Diaries of a Stray Dog universe. Crumbs
got
has
to
taken
be,
over.
got
Crumbs
to be.
probably owns COTF, big man.
Trust and believe. Yeah, for sure.
Yes,
Randomly
absolutely.
Crumbs. Make it
Yes,
yourself.
they do. Yes, they do.
But nah, man. Yeah. So I definitely feel like those are definitely good shouts. So, but yeah, to be fair, it's 5 episodes of the webtoon, and that really translates to about one issue of a traditional print comic. So there's not a lot to go on, but so far I definitely like what I see.
Mhm.
And I guess I'm a bit biased because obviously we've been seeing sneak peeks of The Wounded and Indigo Child coming
Mhm.
soon. So
Mhm.
subscribe to my guy on Webtoons because we got more to come. And I absolutely love this setting. I love it. So y'all ready to slap some scores on this bad boy?
Why not?
So I will start. To be fair
Mhm.
to the viewers, y'all haven't seen what we've seen. So based just on what we've seen, I would give it a 7.5 out of 10. But low
Fair enough.
key, like, is a 9 out of 10 for what's coming next. So my official score is 7.5 based just on the tragedy of Ruby Pixel. I love the
Mhm.
VR. I love their take on VR and like how that has become a legitimate way of interaction for people
I agree.
and the dangers of that. I love the technology. I love the dark, gritty, ultra violent. It give me like low key, like you said, Blade Runner meets maybe like
Mhm.
Judge Dredd in terms of just people being
There is that
extra
element.
dirty.
There is that element of Judge Dredd
Yeah,
to
so
it.
I'm generally quite positive on the setting. There's nothing that I don't like other than the fact that we don't have enough of it.
It does me too.
Well,
Because I want to give
yeah,
it 8, but I just
I
want
give
more.
I give it a solid 7 because people would be dialing like, how you could get a 7.5 and 0.5 and like, okay, all right, take all decimal points, right? I just give it a solid 7. But there are more. There's like we said, there's more to come. So, and the stuff that we've seen so far is like, oh my god.
Yeah, I feel like by the end of Indigo Child, but depends on the order of release. I'm not sure which is coming out first, but once the Wounded and when Indigo Child are out, I'm definitely going to revise my setting score up to a 9 out of 10. I like what we got coming. But for now, let's drop a solid 7.5 out of 10 on it for the setting. I'm quite pleased with that, and let's move on to the story.
Hmm.
I can start on the story
Right.
unless someone has an issue about that. Yeah, so my minor beef with the story, and it's quite
Hmm.
minor. So generally, based on what we've spoken to Nigel, what his vision for this is, instead of it being like this sequential epic, I get the impression he's going for more of this episodic, almost one shot style, but
Right.
everything's going to tie together at the end into a cohesive story because it's all about Douglas. It's his diary. It's him telling his story to his daughter Onika, just to explain why he's done the things he's done, how he's not necessarily proud of all his decisions. So he's not trying to like paint himself as this hero, but he's trying to explain to his daughter why he's lived his life in the way that he has, and try to get her, I guess, to maybe forgive him for what he's failed her in the past, and to
Mhm.
just justify why he's made his choices. So it doesn't seem to be like this long sequential like overarching story, but it's more jumping from place to place of his life, and then at the end of it you can kind of pull together this general sense of the man he was and why he's done the things he's done. So I
Yes.
think I really like that approach. My beef with this first issue, these first 5 episodes, it's not as focused as you would think based on the title. It's called The Tragedy of Ruby Pixel. Ruby Pixel gets highlighted in 2 of the 5 episodes of this first volume. And then you got another 3. So the first episode is like a self-contained story, and it's kind of introducing Douglas and why he wants to tell his story.
Mhm.
Then it switches to Ruby. It gives you like a very concise, I guess, like a very concise look at her general situation. And then the last 2 issues, I believe, it goes back to Douglas and it tells you a bit more about his life, his family, and it kind of like bookends him leaving to go back to this life that he's explaining to Onika about having, basically. So I don't think that overall the storytelling is bad. As always, Nigel kills it with dialogue. I feel like that's his strength. I think he
Mhm.
is amazing at writing characters that seem like real characters. The way everyone speaks is on point.
Right.
The way that they express their personality and who they are through their words is really, really good. But I just feel like this particular episode, this particular volume of 5 episodes, wasn't necessarily as focused on the title as it would have been. I don't know if you guys felt the same way. I feel like we didn't get enough of Ruby, and Ruby is, to me, a pretty compelling character
Okay.
in the very small segment that we've seen of her.
Well, yeah, I could see that. I could see the argument. Because it's like the title says Ruby, but we are seeing more just than Ruby because here's where I'm hoping that he marries the two together at some point, where Douglas is actually saying more about his life, and then he goes into starting to tell about this other character that probably drops in. So for me, if I was writing it, I'll probably say, well, all right, I can start from this end, talk about this character and why he's doing these things, and then reintroduce another character, and then eventually at some point meet them halfway in between the story, so we could have something complete. But again, I could only speculate that on that, or I could just say that's my theory on that whole
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
situation. Um, the but I am more invested in Douglas' story more so than Ruby's for some reason. But we for the mere fact for this volume, we can only see what Douglas is going through or what he has told his daughter so far, and his story has been compelling. Whereas that he needs to rectify something in life that he's
Mm-hmm.
going forward with, and is like still like he has to do this before his deathbed in a sense, because sometimes the only way you can actually have some sort of clear conscience let you just let you know, but this is what happened. I had to do this because of this, because I only did it out of this situation because let's say like love or something for love for a child in this case, where as that he's telling his daughter these things. So for me, so far has been compelling. I don't get a lot from it from Ruby because again it's the same, it's kind of the same, but it leaves me to figure out, okay, so who is this, who she is really? Is the daughter alive, is she dead, if you get what I'm
Yeah, like
saying?
I got a
And
lot of questions about Ruby, to be honest,
yeah,
and
I'm questionable.
that's something I want to see
I
more
see.
of. So I'm gonna pull up Ruby's design on the screen because I like this, and I guess we're gonna spoil it when we get the characters. We're gonna go through the contrast. So
Right.
this is Ruby at work. She is like a VR sex worker. Let's not use any derogatory terms.
Let's keep it as that, clean as that.
Yeah. So yeah, she's basically like a VR, like a virtual sex worker, and I don't know, man. Like I find it really interesting. I like the contrast between her VR persona and her real life persona. I find her like I got a lot of questions about the status of her daughter, what that situation is. I
Mm.
like her partner in crime, basically. Like I Sean says it. Sean says he's also waiting for more of Ruby, and like beyond Ruby's visual design being ridiculous, being peak Tristan Roach. I feel like just in terms of character, personality, backstory, I have a lot of I want to see, no pun intended. I want to see a lot more of Ruby
Mm-hmm.
to be fleshed out. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm genuinely intrigued with her story.
But you see, that's what I think is actually playing into the title of the story. Like, as much as we get to see about Douglas, I like the fact that Nigel has given us not so much of Ruby because it makes you want to know more about Ruby. And essentially, what we have gotten is basically a tragedy. Essentially, we would look at what her character is online, and then you see who she really is offline.
Uh-huh.
To me, it speaks to the fact that she's been doing this forever. She's been doing this forever, trying to get her daughter. So then, question, as you guys did bring up too, is her daughter really alive or is her daughter dead? Or
Exactly.
much like again, when Julian mentioned Blade Runner, the reason why I thought of Alpha Carbon too is mainly because girl's consciousness, at the very least, is on the net. So if that's
Mm-hmm.
the case, then that is also building on the tragedy, the fact that her daughter might be in prison somewhere on the net. She has to pay something to get her out. So to me, it you get a lot from Ruby. We need more, but you already get a lot from Ruby, which builds on the tragedy.
Right.
So I think personally for me, I think the story is there, and the title has built. Well, the story has been built to match the title. It's just that we get a lot more around it, but when you focus, you pinpoint on Ruby, you see the tragedy so far. Anyway,
Yeah,
Correct.
I think that's reasonable. I just you know me, I'm licorice. I'm greedy. I
yeah,
want
you know you
more.
want more. You want world
I
building.
need
You
more.
want
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
everything.
God,
Uh-huh.
give me
We
it.
know this. And less
God,
and
just
less
give me
character.
more. Give
Yes,
me
we
more. Give
know.
me more.
Uh-huh.
But
Right.
now, actually, and you know, I don't care about characters. I don't care about your
Exactly.
feelings. I don't care about
Uh-huh.
your personal. But now, I actually like Ruby. I'm now genuinely intrigued with Ruby's personal story. So I'm intrigued by Ruby as a character. I'm intrigued by Gambi as a character.
Mm.
That's probably it. To be honest, that's it. That's it. I don't really care about anything else.
I just
But
I just like the idea for Douglas what he's doing so far because as him being very torn as a character.
yeah, man,
Mm.
I think Douglas is
Yeah,
well written. But you know your boy, man. You know me. You know
I
me.
know, I know. You don't give a
But then
shit
we
about
also got to
characters.
see how Douglas's story interacts or intertwines with Ruby at some point, even if
That's
it
really
isn't
what
clear
I'm
at this
curious about.
one.
Again,
Yeah.
that's where we're going with. Again, I can only speculate on the theory that I just mentioned. So
Mm.
I
Yeah.
just hoping that the two both of them actually have some sort of part to deal with this story because I and did because if you set up one character for another, eventually both of them had to meet at some point, or even pathways,
Exactly.
or even they don't meet at all, but actually been in the same place at the same time,
Yeah.
crossing
But
You have
paths.
to
then
bring
either
the
which
you
way,
have to bring the two storylines together at some point.
yeah, but then either which way that might in itself expand on the tragedy of Ruby Pixel too.
Exactly.
It's true.
Or or you would just say this much, he might end up killing Ruby. Who knows?
Or maybe he ended up killing Ruby's daughter's physical body, and that's why she's on the internet.
Maybe.
That
We
could
can
be it too.
only speculate at this point.
Only speculate at this point.
Which is
But
why I
yeah,
think the story as it is right now is great because then it makes you do this right now. It makes you just kind of speculate and try to figure out exactly where you go.
Exactly.
and that
Exactly.
is true.
Builds
I
on a
mean,
mystery.
if you're doing like a very episodic webcomic, you want people to be craving more, and it's only 5 episodes out, and we already have so much to say. So yeah,
Hmm.
man, I can't see he's done a bad job on the story. So I can get that guy again. I think the stories are solid. 7.5 out of 10. Like
Here we go again.
it giving me it. The only problem with the story is that I need more of it, bro. Like, give me it. But I can't say that he's not crammed enough story into what's effectively a single print issue of a comic. He introduces Douglas. He introduces Douglas's situation. We get to see a lot of characters related to Douglas, his team, his kids doctor. We get to see Ruby, her partner, her daughter, her life. I think, like, I can't complain that I haven't gotten enough story in these five episodes of the first volume. So, that's just your boy.
If Count was here, he'd be like, "What the hell?"
Well, we're not Cameron bad minds.
Geez.
Look, at least we score another 20. At least we score another 20.
Yeah.
So yeah,
there was that point.
Now I feel want to get a 9 for what I've seen so far. The intrigue that it builds for me, I can give it a 9. Because it has not fallen. It hasn't fallen short, giving like make you want more, especially for a first issue.
Mm-hmm.
I support it.
Sounds good. What about you, Julian?
Yeah, I give it a 8 because definitively there's more to the story, and what I've seen so far, I like it, and I want more. That's it. I can't explain more than just that. I just need more of this. So
man, I think that's fair. So give your boy more. All right, so that averages out to a solid 8 out of 10. And it moves us straight along to our next category. Characters. Who wants to start on characters?
I like Douglas. That's how they know. Tell what people what the thing is, because I like Iman. Iman just tragic. He can do something. He reminds me of. You know what he reminds me of? I ain't telling a lie.
Mm-hmm.
An Idris Elba character.
I could definitely see Idris Elba trying to I could definitely see Idris Elba playing Douglas. I think that would be a good show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll need to master the Bajan accent though. Right. I'm just saying.
I'm not sure that Idris has that talent.
He can't do it. He can't do it. He can't do it. He had to spend like 5 years in here constantly listening to Bajan vernacular for 5 years in order for you to pick that up. By the way,
especially in Douglas Chuck Russell. Bro, it's just gonna really hold this one.
If he masters the Russell, then we are in business.
He gonna clear. As long as he masters that, he gonna can't say Russell just like that. He gonna say Rasul or Rasul. You gonna see every point of it. He needs to master that whole word. If he can't, well, hey, sorry, it's not for me. But there it is. Like, as you can see in this black and white rendition by Tristan Roach, you can see this man really went through war, like the scars, the gray hair, not because of just he getting old, but his wisdom of what he's been done, and it's tragic. And plus, too, he got saying in the background yesterday he must have done this. You know what I mean? It's just But
my man is just putting his hard-earned dollars to good work.
I ain't though he need it, you know what I mean? Because if I do saying I need to get saying you neck before I love like cat, you know what I mean? They just like cut that off and say, yeah. The way both just get like look at your shoulder like still got it. Anyway, there's so much
you call one packing up on the back.
Yeah, I mean, that was intro there, but I don't think you know what I mean. Clap. Anyhow, but there's still more from Douglas is like the grittiness he has, and he's torn by a lot. I can see it in this. Even if Tristan probably might did this, or Nigel might probably did this specifically, but for me, I think there's a lot more to what he has seen in all his year, what he has done. Many things gotta be regrettably what he'd been done before with other works. He probably kill a whole monastery at some point. Who knows? Because there are things that he probably might say, well, yeah, I've done this. done that. I shouldn't have done that, but I had to do it for the mere fact that it's my job and I need to do it. To me, it's like I don't know. This is a lot more for me. I'm drawn to him because for me, tragic characters, I like to see where he goes with it. Because you may have a heart of gold, but you just do dirt for a living. So
It's
either
true. You
or,
gotta pay the bills.
something gotta give,
You gotta pay the bills.
right? Something gotta happen. But any day, whatever you do, you still gotta pay that price. Even if the people like actually know who you are and come after your children, probably they can't get you. Come after your family, and let's be known, mercenaries are known for doing that stuff. So if he had to do something like that, it comes back. And of all your boy vengeance, you know how I speak it.
You
If it
know it. You
happened to
know it.
you, it gotta come back at you at some point. Vengeance does come back at some point, as you know. So I'm
That is
looking
how
for
it goes.
more for him. He's just he, he's just rock solid of just nothing but tragedy. You can see it in this shot alone. The nigga is tragic. That's what he's saying. That's what he like. Anybody else want to tell me
So
anything
Marcus
else?
in the
Come to
comments
me.
saying that he needs you as Marcus in the comments said that he needs you to be Idris Elba's vocal coach for when this makes it to Hollywood, and our boy Idris
Fam,
is
I'm out
playing.
there. Let me know. I did. I don't for it. Cause like, hey, I can teach you from day one to be just like, yeah, here what's going on, right? You see that American accent? Drop it, because you don't do good with it. Stick with the English one for now until you learn this here. When you understand, you learn this here, you gotta speak with how we do. Wait till my address, I want to hear be a gen. I want to hear nothing English. Mm-mm,
Uh,
none.
oh no, I
It
failed.
was
I've
no,
ruined
no.
it. I've ruined it. But no, no. So I agree. I'm not as big a fan
Butterfinger.
of Doug. Yeah, that was me. That's being terrible. But yeah, so I'm not as huge a fan of Doug as I am of, like I said, Ruby. I really like Ruby's character. I think she is very interesting. But no, I think Douglas is definitely well written, and he gives me like a old '90s action hero, like anti-hero kind of vibe. So I think that's pretty solid.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any beef with him specifically as a character. I do think, and I guess for this, it's a new IP, so we had to introduce the main character, which is probably why he gets as much screen time as he did. But I really feel
Correct.
like Ruby is the one who, for me at least, steals the show, and this is reflected to me in the and I guess the print version. There isn't a print version available to the public, so for you who need to check it out on Webtoons. Link in the description. For those of us on the inside, Nigel was nice enough to present us with the print layout of the comic, and it has some stuff in color. One hint I found really interesting was that like Douglas's bits of the story are almost entirely in black and white. Not all of them. Some parts are in color, but like a lot of it is black and white. And then like a lot of Ruby's story is very colorful, very vibrant, and it creates a different tone that you might not get on the webtoon. And I really like that choice, and I feel like it focuses on Ruby being a more colorful character. Like her lifestyle is a lot more flamboyant. Her and I guess the ups and downs of it, the difference between her VR persona and then her real life persona, the way that she lives her life as Ruby Pixel, the character, and then how she lives her life as Ruby, the woman. There's like this big contrast, but it's a lot more nuanced, a lot less black and white, no pun intended. And I think
Mm.
it was a very clever bit of storytelling, and it's just key to who she is as a character. So I relate that. I think Ruby's character was really well done, and in like basically a third of an issue. So like two two episodes on the webtoon. He created a character that I was immediately interested in, and I think that was a really good job. Additionally,
That says a lot.
yeah, man, 'cause your boy. I can't control what people do. I can't do it. I try my best, but it's
At
hard. I
all.
can't. And this made me interested in Ruby's story, which I think is a good job. I'm also interested in in Doug's kids.
Mm-hmm.
And if you know me again, you know that I don't care about stories centered around children because they're fundamentally not interesting. They're children. But I think Gambi is a very interesting character. I think Rishi's condition has me immediately peaked. My interest immediately peaked. So I think overall the characters are, like you said, the highlight of this book for me, which is rare. I something wrong. Something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But
Very
yeah,
much so.
what about you,
Uh,
Ian?
Pretty much everything you guys said, because Douglas is intriguing for the fact that, again, being that tragic character, as much as everything that Mo said about Douglas, while he was talking about it, it was just like you could pretty much quite equally apply that to Ruby in terms of the things you gotta do to be able to provide or sort a situation for your children. Again, her and her daughter. So
Mm-hmm.
I like Douglas a lot for the glimpse of glimpse we got of his past, having to do the things he had to do. He regrets doing them, but at the same time, like where he is now, and still having to go back to do like mercenary sort of work. But then at the same time, I'm torn because it's like I also like Rui a lot for the development we got within a couple panels that we got her. And as you said, the children for Douglas, like what drove Gambi to be the way he is, especially considering that if Douglas is out of the game, out of COTF, he's just doing slight mercenary work or whatever else. Why is it that Gambi's coming up the way he is? Onika clearly hates
Mm-hmm.
him for whatever that reason is. And Rishi is. I want to know what's up with Rishi. Like, if.
Yeah, man. So this is a shot of
You know,
Gambi being an absolute savage. Gambi
exactly.
is a kid in this. He's like a refugee or a farmer. No, he's a former child soldier that
I
that
believe he's
Doug
like
has
no more than
adopted.
11.
Yeah, but the man is like young, but he got some savagery in
Uh-huh.
him. He's
Exactly.
he's
Come on,
my
So
boy.
it's
kind of
like,
pick me them.
for a man that retired from mercenary work or just doing slight work to try to provide for your kids, like, why is that Gambi come out this way? Especially this big tail scar on your head, whole cybernetic arm, and doing training, like, trying to kill your father, but father's like, yeah, well,
Just learn
you ain't
learn
really
about
that him.
life. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like this
So,
You know,
panel here is a nice example of my favorite saying in life. I should give a disclaimer.
stop there.
Disclaimer before I give my favorite statement in life. The views expressed on this show are not to be. They don't reflect on the views of the Xion Network as a whole. It's just our personal opinions. But yeah, boy, this last panel here is fuck around and find out time.
Fuck around and find out.
yep.
You come at you
Yep.
come at
This.
your father with a knife and you learn about life.
Yeah. Oh my.
And I
Too
was thinking
slow.
about defending stuff with a bottle, and she's like, "Oh, you cut the bottle. All right. Well, I guess I can't really play around with you so much now right now. So how about you
Yeah,
Indeed,
just,
though. Oh my, it's too
have many
slow.
seats."
Your mother, boy. Your mother. That was going on. Your mother. That was going
indeed,
on. Learn
indeed.
about life.
Hold this here,
Yeah.
fam. Just
Hold this, but it's searching.
put some
So
dents
yeah,
in your
that's
back,
why
DBZ style.
I'm like I'm torn between all these characters because this is like there's something interesting about every single one, and the tragedy is like lingering for each of them, especially Douglas. You see it for sure with him,
Yeah,
but
man. Yeah.
everybody has something going on. So
I feel honestly,
yeah,
I feel Doug is the actual antagonist of this story now. I got to.
explain yourself.
Because like look at his son, like half the arm gone and gone and faced with cybernetics, scars and all.
Mhm.
Psychotic. His
Yeah.
daughter don't really like him that much. Sam wrong. Yeah. Sam is strategically wrong.
Well,
He
I
must
mean, this
karma must be
Especially
been
Rishi.
very
Something happened.
yes.
Something
Something
happened.
happened. And he's a mercenary. So like what type of mercenary are you?
indeed. Let me see if I can pull up a shot of Rishi. Nope, going the wrong direction.
Wrong direction. Yeah.
We're gonna. There we go.
And she don't even call you by dad, they call you by your first name. Doug. Yeah,
Yeah,
not even
boy.
for not not Douglas, but Doug. He's like, yeah, we ain't on our
Onika
level, dog.
is full of disrespect. I think she needs to also get some dents put in her back. B.
Nah,
Don't
not
don't
dents.
don't
She
call
need
your dad by
denture.
his first
No, no,
name.
no, 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 no. There's
For
where you're
all
wrong, sir. There's where you're wrong. She does not need dents. She need dentures for actually being that disrespectful.
Oh,
Wrong.
for all you know, only could just
forfeit
buzz
your
a
teeth.
Osama suit and be like, nah, you ain't have to see easy so.
Oh.
Just saying.
I thought,
But
yeah,
yeah,
your
I
mother
think you
does.
do bring up a good point, Ian. Where tragedy is kind of like it's a line that runs through the entire this entire first issue. I think everyone so far seems to live a quite tragic life. Before we
Yeah.
jump away from characters, let me highlight what we've been talking about, which is the contrast between Ruby's online persona that you've seen so far, and then the real Ruby. So this is Ruby. This is the woman behind Ruby Pixel, the character. So she's clearly been at this for a hot minute.
Mm.
Life has taken its toll.
A
Yeah,
hot
I
minute, you
think
say, sir? No, 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 no. That's been
just a few
more than
seconds,
just a
bro.
hot minute. That, bro, that is
Just
30. That's 30 minutes. Basically, her lifetime. Look at the bags on
uh
her damn well ice. Them is Louis
But you
Vuitton.
yeah,
Them is
see,
normal.
but you
Them are
see,
normal fucking bags, dog. Them is Louis Vuittons on her. I just this baggage, pure baggage,
but you
man.
see,
The lines
considering how
on her,
old she look.
what you
nah,
saying, Ian?
like the lines on
No,
her face are basically
no, but I was
basically
saying,
contours of the world, fam. Them is just basically convex and concave lines on her face, brother. She's seen more
ah,
than just enough.
she's seen a lot. She's seen a lot.
She
Nah,
has
but
definitely
I would
seen a
say
But
lot.
just
all we
looking.
know, she could be. All we know, she could be 45. You bet she look like gone in 65. She could have actually got pension,
Yeah,
fam.
she look,
Like that's
and she
how
like
old she
whole
could
rogue
be.
streak and everything. She
Mm-hmm.
she really up there. But it makes me wonder as well, then too, like considering her daughter and everything, right? Like, will be questioning about if her daughter is actually alive or not. I feel like she's living in virtual world because look at the issue daughter versus what we know of Ruby in real life. It's crazy.
Yeah, true. So
Yeah.
this is Ruby's online persona again. This is when she goes to see her daughter. So interestingly, she goes to see her daughter as her younger online persona, and her daughter
Mm-hmm.
looks quite young. So
So mostly
it does,
what her daughter remembers as too.
yeah. So it does raise the question of how old is Ruby? How old is her daughter?
Mm-hmm.
Do those ages
Mm-hmm.
add up? And
Mm.
what really is going on here?
Also, the mere fact that this might be some, let's say, probably a program for Ruby to actually slip into, so she can actually remember her daughter.
I mean,
That might
that's
be
that's
it.
Mm,
also a possibility. Her daughter
that
I
could be
mean,
is.
gone,
going
and this
going
is
going
just
the route of going the route of Altered Carbon slash Blade Runner. Sometimes you just gotta do some things to actually remember certain things how it was back then,
Very true.
or just to feel a certain familiar feel, just to feel human again. So that could be it too.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
yeah. I mean, that is entirely possible.
yeah.
So yeah, man. I
I
think we
support
But
covered.
that.
she looked hella
I
young
think we
here. When
covered a lot.
she thinks she's little.
Yeah. So I think we covered a lot. Now for the scores. What would you guys say you score the characters out of 10? For me, I'm ashamed to say that I really like the characters. I probably give this like a 9 out of 10 for characters. I think the characters were the
See, there you
best
go.
the best part of it for me. I gotta be
This
that guy.
motherfucker here. This
I,
motherfucker here.
I'm there with you on the
All
nine.
things.
I'm there with you on nine. I know it's rare for you to
All
really
we.
be into characters, right?
Yeah,
But I
you
dare
know
with
how it
you in
is.
nine. I dare with you in nine.
That's the thing. I just like this is rare. I go look outside to see if they're actually getting rain
You,
and shit because
you get a rain
Boy,
coming, a whole
boy,
storm coming
it's
apparently,
rain, man.
mad
man, I
cloudy
don't.
outside. It's super overcast.
Uh,
Hey boy, if you get any
yeah,
flooding, just
well,
blame
because
Roun.
of
That's
the
all.
Sahara dust, yes, but I just thought still, yeah.
Oh
So
man.
overall, we got three. So overall, we have three nines, three solid
All
nines.
right, cool.
So that
So
makes
Three
it
that's a
solid.
even
solid
even
a
better
solid nine
because
out of 10 for
why
characters. I
not?
feel like And I feel like this jives with my general opinion of the way that Nigel writes and his strength, dialogue, making characters relatable, making them believable. I think that's what he really excels at. So that is
Right,
no
right.
surprise to me. Solid 9 out of 10 for the characters. So let's move on to everybody's favorite part. Tell me about why Tristan Roach is a statement dog. Who wants to get started on the art?
Because he's a statement dog altogether. Tristan just dirty, dirty. He just nasty,
Bruh.
filthy, McGuffey, stinking, swamp juice, garbage truck filling, nasty altogether. Just let we know it. He can't help.
Wow.
It is just that
Wow.
nasty. It's like every time we see Tristan work, it'd be like all the time. Hey, it can't help. It's just that nasty.
Yeah.
Boy, just
Let
dirty.
me just.
Yeah.
Now
Let
this
me
is
just
So
this
let me
is
just
my
dissect this.
favorite
Let me just
panel right
this
here.
is a panel
brother,
alone, yes.
brother. This is the money shot that was sell. If this had to be a movie, this would be the money shot that would sell this book early.
That's why I use it for the YouTube thumbnail.
Tristan's
It's delicious.
Tristan's storytelling is by par. It's been very chef kiss for a long time. Like I just be wondering is like, hmm, what next can he do? What else he cannot do? This
Oh.
alone says what it is for this book. Stray dogs, mercenaries, killing people, guts, gore, blood everywhere, cussing, because we could add it in because it's Beijing. But it is what it is here. Like just looking at it, this one is like, oh yes, this is gonna be brutal. This is definitely not your run of the mill PG-13 book, even though it looks and colors like a PG-13. This might be not of a Suicide Squad 2, I should say, type of book. This is more than just that, because yeah, this sells this book. This shot alone, even if you take out the dialogue alone, sell it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Tristan just yeah. I ain't gonna
Yeah,
have to say
man.
about that, but Tristan just dirty shay.
So I guess for the benefit of those who will be viewing this on webtoons, you're gonna be viewing it in black and white. So it's not just the colors, like the line work, the halftones. The book is just it's crazy. Like the art it's mad good. So for those of you who may be following any of us on Instagram, you will have seen that we've been messing around with the halftones. Julian's
Yes,
blood
I have.
sport that we did on the Zion Variety Show about 3 weeks ago. He used the halftones and the colors. I've been messing around with it in some of my art, and it's largely inspired by Tristan's work in this book. For me personally, well, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it just looks like super clean. I am not generally a fan of pure black and white work. Like I'll read manga, it's fine, but it's not. I'm not going to prefer it over color. If I can get it in color, I needs it in color. But I think the line work on this is amazing. The shading is great. Being able to get some of the panels in color in like the print version is epic. I absolutely love it. I guess if I have to nitpick on negatives, it's definitely not like it's a webtoon format. It's a webcomic format. So you can definitely tell that there are like timelines on it. So everything is hyper detailed. Some of the artwork is I don't want to call it scrap like sketchy almost. Like he doesn't bother to finish or to finish in the highest level of detail some of the
Right.
panels that aren't necessarily the most impactful. Like if they either don't have a huge visual impact or they don't contribute a lot to the story, he doesn't spend a lot of time on them. So it's
Mhm.
not like across the board AAA quality art,
Mm-hmm.
but where it counts, it is amazing, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
No, I see. I
Just
support. I
solid.
support that sketchy line where he has in certain panels too.
Mm-hmm.
Because as sketchy and as it looks, it's not like super cleanly to me other panels. You get
Yeah.
that energy because he has a movement. So because it's a moving piece for a lot of those panels, you
Mm-hmm.
definitely need that energy behind it. And I love the fact that he left those sketchy lines in some, especially some of the more gory scenes too. You get that movement with that those sketchy lines as well. Having it in color gives it a lot of a difference, but
Yeah.
even just in black and white, it felt good. So I really like those ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So, this is page 6. Give me a second while I jump to one of the sketchier panels, and it's going to be hard to notice. And I think this is why I consider it a nitpick. So, like, um, in the middle panel here on the left, we got a soldier jumping through the door, shooting this guy, and in black and white, you can tell that this isn't like the most detailed drawing. But in color, it's immaculate. Like in color, you
Mm-hmm.
can't even notice that it's low detail. But even in black and white, it's just clever because, like Ian said, it keeps the energy. It doesn't lose any of the detail that you need. But you can tell that Tristan didn't spend like 4 hours on this panel because it's a webcomic. It's something you're going to be looking at putting out at a pretty steady pace. So I think it's a very clever use of his time and I guess of everyone's time. So yeah, man, I
I agree.
am I am
I agree.
very happy with the art. Like I won't give it a 10 out of 10 because they didn't spend 10 out of 10 time on it. But like I got no beef with any. I don't have beef with the style. I don't have a beef with the technique. Look, man, don't give me that look. We seen Tristan's work on Offset. We seen Tristan's work on Spirit Beer. You know, if Tristan has spent like an extra, let me say, an extra month on this issue, it would look sexier. Like this is not peak Tristan, but it is good enough for the medium, and it is good enough for the storytelling. So I'm
Get
getting a
no
10 out of 10.
look
You could look at me however you want, Julian. Just
Get
to
You
give
no look
just,
you
cause you just yellow and full of shit.
why are you like
That's
this?
all.
Why?
Because you cannot give the man a 10 out of 10 because is not it's supposed to be kinetic, fam. That's the whole
It
point.
is, and like I tell you, I like it. Like from a technical perspective, I got no beef with the choices that they made.
If
But
I had done something like this, you wouldn't give me a 10 out of 10 either.
nah.
Your mother. That was only got 10. Straight.
Why are you like this,
Straight up.
Julian? I'm giving it a
Because
8 out
you
of 10.
just give I don't get you. I
We gotta be
eat.
consistent.
Why?
We
It
can't
doesn't
give
deserve a damn
Offset a
eight.
10 out of 10 and then give this a 10 out of 10, Julian.
mean,
I could. I give him a 10 out of
we
10.
could.
Fuck you and yours for your thing. Because I doing it.
Wow. Why are you
Sue
why
me.
you like this?
Bro, like you just nailed it because the mere
Uh,
fact that this is just something is energy that is translated. You know how hard something it is to actually translate that type of energy through a still image. Have you ever done it?
Yeah, no. I
How you know how
bro
hard that is
boy
sometimes? Like,
boy, you're
fam,
preaching to the choir. I
fam.
can't do a lot of what Tristan does, and let me be clear.
I
This work is like this shot right here is a 10 out of 10 shot. This is
that's a money
flawless.
shot, man.
Yeah, 100%. I would
mm,
print this and hang it up in my bedroom. Like it is good.
Yeah, that's a good
But
idea. I should really say that. Yeah,
like some of
very
the
good.
some of the other panels, you know that if Tristan put the same effort into like that last panel that we were looking at that he put into this comic, we got people licking their computer screens, be doing things I can't demonstrate on stream because we will get canceled.
Yeah, clearly, just let's not do that.
But yeah. So now real talk. I feel like I'm gonna give it a 8 out of 10 only because I know that Tristan can do better. But to be clear, this it's sexy. It's sexy as hell. So the 8 for me. That's me. Just saying.
Ian, go Ian, because
I would give it a 10 out of 10.
And
But
that's
it's
your
getting late.
prerogative. Oh,
And
see,
that's
look,
only because no,
Ian
no,
get a
no,
10 out
no,
of 10
no,
neither.
no, no. You hold on. It's only
Mhm.
because I want more Ruby.
Ah ha ha, my girl Ruby. My girl Ruby.
okay, understand. Understandable.
You understand that, Julian? You
That's
understand that
fine.
one?
That's grand.
Uh, wait, where's
Hey, I understand.
Ruby
I
at?
understand.
Mind you, that's a lot of Ruby, so
A lot of Ruby.
Actually, right? I feel like this version of Ruby is my
That is it.
favorite because it got
That
like
is
Mm.
it. Right there.
it got like low key crop over costume vibes.
yeah, that's the reason.
So I feel like it's still very. Look, man, you know Tristan does just draw ultra sexy women. I ain't fronting.
Yeah,
Every
all the
woman that
time, all the
Tristan
time.
draws is mega
We
sexy.
know this. We know it's always been that.
But I feel like beyond just being sexy, because what he does in these couple panels is he tries to like capture all the fetishes. So in the next page, he does like your Japanese schoolgirl / sailor outfit for the weebs. Just you're very conventionally attractive white big boob lady in a bathing suit. That's like very North American. It's like the standard of beauty. He has like a sexy witch which delves into like slightly more goth. He does like a BDSM shot further. Well, now we're getting quite raunchy, but there's like a BDSM scene further down. So I feel like each iteration of Ruby is to appeal to a specific demographic. And I feel like this is their Caribbean appeal. I feel like she's so scantily clad, she's mega hot, boobs are unrisky huge, each breast is bigger than her head, her waist to hip ratio is off the charts. But I feel like this one ties it back into like a slightly Caribbean vibe. Like you could see like this could be an actual costume at Trinidad Carnival because we get wild.
Right. Quite so.
Yeah.
So I quite appreciated them bringing it back and still having like a bit of Caribbean flavor among each iteration of Ruby Pixel the character. So I quite like that. And Tristan is always at his best when he's allowed to go ham and draw unrealistically hot women. Just just throw caution to the wind and make these women the sexiest they possibly can be. So yeah, I big it up.
By any means necessary.
Indeed. So Julian, what's your score?
10, 10, nigga, 10.
Ian gives it a 9, and you give it a.
No, mind me. I really play around with our Ruby. That's a 10 fam. All this is a 10.
It's actual 10.
When they what? It's actual 10.
I sorry, boy. Sorry. Let me recalculate that.
That's actual 10, man.
10. I ain't start getting QQRs for next time though, because whenever I feel like this
just one
thing, all right, because I ain't get QQR. I just hold up straight.
That's it.
Oh, so that's
and I'm asking the question.
That's a 9.5.
I'm giving you more ideas why I not.
And I think that's fair.
That's what you.
Wow, why are you like this, Julian?
That's how it is.
All right, let's move on to the last category. Let us do technique real quick. Who wants to get into technique? I feel like to do technique properly, we have to do. We have to talk about both versions of Diaries of a Stray Dog. The print version which we have access to, and then the webtoon version that everybody else has access to. Anybody wants to start? Or can I start? Because I got a lot to say.
All right. There's the web of it. There is certain things that I realize, like the dialogue boxes. Some of them are actually not justified, and some of them are to the left or to the right. So that the inconsistency does stand out a bit, because the versions we have are corrected. Ones that are probably on the might be on the webtoons. I could be wrong, but just checking just in case. Some of them I've seen before was justified to the left, but most dialogue boxes are for not when dialogue boxes when they are not speaking or like if there's a narrative, usually
Uh huh.
goes into the point where it has to be justified. It makes the reader seem a little easier, as you already know.
Yeah, yeah.
Some
We
of
had
them have been there like that. I could be wrong, but I know
yeah,
I
yeah.
seen
So
a
some
version of that somewhere. I
yeah
seen a
on the
version of that
webtoon,
somewhere.
some of the stuff is
Somewhere.
it's
I'm
left aligned versus rather than being centered. So let me
right.
change what I'm sharing on my screen so that we can quickly go through. We can scroll through the webtoon. Oh, how is this gonna work? Uh, so I can't see the webtoon as long as I
Right.
can't
There we
see
go.
the StreamYard as I'm looking at this. So bear with me. But yeah, so most
It's
on the
cool.
webtoon, at least for
But
episode
again,
one, most of these things are left aligned, and I think that is fine. And as usual, when we got circular text bubbles, they're centered, which
Mm-hmm.
is the comic book
yeah.
standard. What I find interesting about the webtoon in particular, what I find interesting about the book in general is that in both print format and webtoon format, the formatting is entirely different. But I don't have a
Mm-hmm.
favorite. We had a really long discussion in the inner circle in our WhatsApp group where one of our writers was talking about how there's a particular art to print to the design of panels when you're doing print comics, and it's sometimes
Yeah.
lost when you're doing web comics. That web paneling is easier because it's simpler. You're just scrolling down, so you just generally have a panel above, a panel below, and it keeps going down. I think that that Tristan did an amazing job of making the paneling for the webtoon interesting. Like it's not just a panel above, a panel below. It shifts
Right.
from left to right. It slants a bit. It keeps your eye moving, and as you read the story sequentially, like I feel like the web format is a bit better for sequential art because I don't know. I feel like I scroll at a consistent pace, and when I scroll at a consistent pace, as I read the text, it paces the story better than I might pace it
Yep.
on my own if I open a page and I can see 2 pages of images and dialogues. Because when I'm reading it on the webtoon, I can only ever see what I should be focusing at this time. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like it does a really, really solid job of pacing the story, and it's not something that I've noticed previously when reading webcomics, like even on Webtoons, which has some of the best webcomics on the planet. I've not noticed it, and I
Yeah.
feel like the contrast between this and having access to the print version, which also has amazing paneling to me, it really highlights how much work goes into being good at paneling.
Yep. Yep.
Exactly. And
So
Is
that's
the
just my two
technique here
cents.
is for me.
mm,
The technique here for me was some of the well besides the dialogue being um shifted to the left.
Mm-hmm.
This I actually sometimes I prefer the webtoons paneling because there's a lot more. Even though there's some things you may be limited to a certain point, but there's a lot more that you can do when telling a story. Because again, as you are scrolling, you get to feel something different from this than actually turning the page from left to right. So when you're scrolling down, you can actually do a lot more and be a lot more creative in this space that you are. Because you
Mm-hmm.
could have probably like have someone throw a grenade and just watch them actually throw a grenade and it actually exploding in the next panel down bottom. Whereas that there could be something else totally different. As you can have like a fisheye view in one
Mm-hmm.
panel to the bottom where it explodes, you can actually see the person actually threw the grenade from one
Yeah,
point
yeah,
and it
yeah.
goes right down. You can see it. So again, that's just being creative in this space, because it may be limited, but at least you get to create in this limitation, and be a lot more, be more expressive in this limitation. So for this, it goes very well, because you could see, because he has dissected like certain panels and put it to left to right, as you said, and
Yeah,
it gives it much more easier to read from left to right, as we do in Western hemisphere, whereas Eastern, they read from right to left, because they do things differently. But
yeah, yeah.
I have that's just the only one thing with the panel, with not the panel, the dialogue going left to right, I believe, to the left, shift to the left. I'm like, okay, all right, I'll just make that pass. But everything else is just solid for me, especially when it
That's
is black and white.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. So what I wanted to point out, right here. So I feel like this is one of the reasons why I didn't give it a 10 out of 10 for art. So this
Mm-hmm,
top panel, the top left panel, that
mm-hmm,
is a crop of a larger. So that's a crop of the very top corner of this panel.
right.
So like that's the same drawing, except for here we just zoomed into the guy jumping through the door, and so that's what I was saying. Like
Mm-hmm,
that is a very tiny excerpt of an already small panel. In print, the one that I showed you earlier, it looks great. It's in
mm-hmm,
color. The guy is small, so the lack of detail is not a big deal. But when you see it here, it's like blown up,
Blown up like that.
and and the detail of this particular
I
panel in
see.
quotation marks isn't amazing because it's very small. Similar to this one here, this panel on the bottom right is is like over this guy's right shoulder. So it's like a very small part of a big panel. So again, you lose the detail that you would normally have, and you can kind of nitpick the flaws in it a bit more. So that is it. To me, it was a good decision. You don't
Mm-hmm,
want to
Yeah.
waste time in quotation marks redrawing those little excerpts in greater detail,
right.
Mm-hmm.
but as a result, you lose some of that quality in quotation marks that you would expect from a print comic
Okay.
Right.
on the any web version. So that is like from a technical perspective, that's a compromise they made, and I understand why they made it, but
Mm.
it doesn't provide the absolute best quality at all times for the viewer. So
Fair enough.
Fair
that's
enough.
why I was a bit critical of it from an artistic perspective. From a technical
Mm.
perspective, I think it's smart as hell because it
It is.
helps with pacing. It draws out what would normally just be a single panel, and you kind of have to in your mind work out how long everything happens. It kind of draws that out now, where you see a guy kicking down the door and coming in shooting. Then you see another
Right.
guy from another angle shooting, and then it zooms out and shows you the full scene. And that's the strength to me of the web comic format that you won't get in print.
Mm-hmm.
I
So
actually
I
prefer
think
the
that
webcomic format for that too. In terms
Yeah.
of like,
yeah. Okay,
okay, so no,
go
go
on,
ahead, go
Ian.
ahead.
Go on. No, go on.
No, but in terms of being able to section out parts of images like that, and the overall, like what you were saying in terms of how it kind of flows top to bottom, you just kind
Mm-hmm.
of just get guided through this like little waterfall sort of effect. You learn, you get all the story and everything, and you get the art. But on top of that, you will notice that more often than not, where possible, you would get the speech bubbles or the story boxes and everything like actually appearing on the black section of
Yeah,
the webtoon, so it doesn't interrupt the art as much as it needs to. You get the full force of the art, you get the story moving, especially when he's able to like cut snippets of the art out and paste it. Like if you had scrolled on some more here, outside of this section here, there's another area, the same color version, the color section we get of um Douglas shooting the girl, right? Like
oh yeah,
you
yeah,
get that
Yep.
snippet of him here.
Yep.
The
uh-huh,
text is in black. Sent to end
yep,
it. You actually get that explanation of what's happening. He shoots.
yeah,
You go down some more. You get that. Like you get a sequence that not only guides you, but it feels like if you're watching it, not just reading it.
Mm-hmm.
You actually
agreed.
get that action happening, and I thought that was super clean. I
Yeah, yeah.
was amazed. The only thing I would say is if it is a matter of that this was done after the fact in terms of the images were then cut up and then zoomed in for certain sections, I
Uh
would
huh.
say if you could do everything large scale, have it super detailed so that even if you have to cut it up in certain segments,
Uh
you
huh.
have that detail in each segment. But
Right.
I'm very happy with the webtoons version, and it reminds me of certain manhwas that actually just are on webtoons that guide you,
Hmm.
not really guide you so much so, but how it's laid out. You get a sense of motion in how you read as well too, and not just you reading a story.
Hmm.
I very impressed with it.
Yeah, I agree with that. It feels almost animated to a certain extent, rather than
Yes.
just being sequential art. And I think that is a really powerful technique that we don't see a lot of. You know who does this? Yusuke. Dang it, what's the guy? The guy who does One Punch Man.
Yes. Oh.
Uh,
Ooh.
I I'm drawing a blank
I
on his
can't remember
name.
his
Okay. Yeah.
name, but I know what you mean. One Punch
Uh,
Man's artist, he is another level.
Actually,
Yusuke
go here to see the
Murata
panel.
is his name.
I was
Yusuke
gonna
Murata,
say what?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
he does. He Oh, dang it, sorry. Oh, y'all can see me googling.
Yep.
Sorry, I keep getting. I'm sharing my browser. Good thing I didn't look at anything controversial. But yeah, so
Wow.
Yusuke Murata does
Compromising
that a
yourself,
lot
aren't
in
you?
One Punch Man. Yeah, boy. Yeah,
Yeah.
gotta keep my searches clean. But Yusuke Murata does that a lot in One Punch Man. Um, he
That
will
scene with him with Sonic dashing around Saitama in the forest in
exactly.
motion.
He
Ugh.
draws his mangas like it's an anime. So he almost animates panels, and he will often have full page spreads. And when you
Hmm.
turn it, when you scroll from page to page, it's literally like you're seeing different frames of an animated thing. And I think that's a really powerful tool. And I think that Tristan captures it very well in this webtoon format. Having it seem animated when it's really just sequential art. And I think that
Even
is
if you scroll back up, if
powerful.
you scroll back
Uh-huh.
up there, even just showing all clear, all targets neutralized with his feet alone from that, it just utilizes all parts of that one
Excellent.
panel. It
Yeah.
is
Yep.
clean.
Yeah, man. So you're seeing like the same panel, but then it's cut into like 5 or 6 panels. So you get to highlight all of the art, all the hard work you've been doing, enjoying that people might gloss over
Yeah.
in a single panel in the print version. And then you get to move the text around, you're not forced to like permanently cover up a part of your drawing. And I think it is.
Right.
I love it. I love it. I love it. But and then we see all this, but then we have access to the print version, and I also love the print version. So like, I can't even say that I like the webtoon version better than the print version. I love both. I think that from a technical perspective, it's just really cleverly done.
Mm. Yep.
Agreed.
Very much so.
Agreed. Agreed.
So yeah, man. Like I'm just really happy with this from a technical perspective.
Yeah.
Uh so scores. I feel like I would give it. I don't want to give it a 10, but I feel like I can give it a 9.5. So it might as well be a 10.
I give it a 9.
I give it 8. I would give it 8 because I like the movement, but much of what Roun said in terms of the zoom in nature, the pixelated nature of the little snippets of certain panels and stuff like that,
Right.
they
Mm-hmm.
could be cleaner. And that's my only nitpick for this entire thing. Like really truly, if you
Okay.
had the art at a higher quality and just cut those sections and put those in as actual like images
Right.
alone by themselves, that would be
Uh-huh.
perfect. But that's a severe nitpick for me. Like
Yeah,
outside of that,
yeah.
it would have been a 9,
Yeah.
but
To
that's
me,
the
to
only thing I
me,
would
to me,
detract
that's
point for it.
just saying.
Mm.
Yeah, because
Yeah, that's
But
fair.
like
yeah,
you were
so 8 for
saying,
me.
it's just small nitpick either way. So it's small. So,
Mm.
but I give a shit what Room says. I can just say a 9 because fuck it.
All right, so that balances us out quite nicely in the middle.
Yes.
So that'll be a 9 out of 10. Let me do some quick math, like big shot.
Cool. Wow. Like if you didn't see that one coming in, like
I
a quick math is like, yeah, there we go.
I should have seen it, but it still hit me right across my face. I was just like, oh, right.
You know how we do.
Yes, sure.
You're rude, Julian. You're rude. You're
Right.
rude. You're rude.
The man was raised in the cornfields of Barbados.
So the
Right,
final
that would be
verdict, 8.6 out of 10. And bear in mind that this is basically one issue of a comic. Five episodes on webtoons, which adds up to like a single print issue. Oh, so Nigel is in the chat and he's saying that he did the paneling for the web version. So it seems like Tristan drew.
Oh wow!
Tristan drew
That's
the
nice.
Yeah, so that's actually more impressive. So Tristan just drew the print version, and then Nigel went in and chopped it up and made the web version.
Wow.
But see, that in itself just shows for me, like how Nigel wants his story, how Nigel envisioned the story flowing in terms of action. I got it.
So right now you got me thinking.
For me, no. All right,
because my beef on the art was that it wasn't.
No trouble.
I sorry, Julian. You were right. So like my beef on the art was that it wasn't detailed enough in certain places. But if Tristan is just drawing the print version, the detail is fine. And if Nigel now doesn't have the option of redrawing panels because he's not an artist, he's a writer, and he's cutting it up to make his own version of the webtoon.
But he organizes the flow, and the flow is clean
as hell. No, we'll give you a 10 for technique too. This, so for brevity, we're gonna stick to our scores. But nah, this hard, dude. This is so. Thanks for that heads up in the comments, Nigel and Leslie. I think that is great to know, and that segues brilliantly into our bonus round, guys. You want to give bonus points now, Julian?
Well, obviously you can't give it a 20, so just saying.
Nah. Real talk. Knowing what I know now, I think that this is genius because you make one product and then you convert it into a second, like almost independent. I mean, it's the same story, yes, but it feels like such a different experience. You get two products for the price of one, and I think that is genius. I give it 10 out of 10 for ingenuity. Like that is brilliant shit, Nigel. Real talk. I am very impressed with this methodology. Look, man, I don't care, Julian. Stop looking at me like that. I can only know what I know, okay? I can only know what I know, and based on what I knew,
knowing is half the battle.
Indeed, but that's clever as shit. I think that is mad smart.
Okay, I'm not me. Comments? I'm good.
Questions, queries?
No.
Julian is so humble when he's right.
I have to be. I have to be. I am not that way. Like I told you, Xion, Ali, you tell me, yeah, I was right. I'm just gonna sit back and let the facts. I'm just gonna sit around and let the facts. I'm gonna sit around and let the facts do by itself. Hey, I do it every damn Sunday. I give a damn shit. So as I'm saying here,
I'll hold that L.
No, it's a lesson. No, it's not a loss, sir. It's always a lesson to learn. That's the truth and beauty of it.
Still an L. I will take it. I'll take it in straight.
We'll take it in straight, sir. Just understand that mere fact that these things happen and put these things in place for you to learn and live by.
Fair enough. I have learned. So I'm going to give my final verdict real quick. We can all chime in and give our final words. First off, my final verdict is to read this on Webtoons. Go on Webtoons. The link is in the description. Check it out. Subscribe to my guys so you get updates when we get new issues. I can't not recommend this. I think that it looks amazing in print. It looks amazing on Webtoons. Now understanding the process for transforming it from print to Webtoons, I think it shows off Nigel's storytelling chops in terms of pacing, in terms of paneling. Because like paneling to me is the skill of an illustrator. Like artists learn how to do paneling well. Yep. Being able to take someone who does paneling well, to take their paneling and then create your own independent, unique paneling, that is brilliant shit. Also, I recommend it. If you like, I don't care what you like, bro. Read this shit. If you like sci-fi, read it. If you like good characters, read it. If you like story, read it. If you like the Caribbean spin on futurism, Afrofuturism, read it. If you don't like any of those things, still read it. I think this is a masterclass in storytelling. This is brilliant. I'm done. It's great.
Cool.
Give me more.
So I'm just gonna add to what you're saying too, verbatim. I just say it like that. Also, it just shows that Nigel can direct and storytell very well. He is a very good director.
Agreed.
Because if you can take something like a product that was done before and reformat it for something else brilliantly and flawlessly, it shows that you have that sense of direction clearly. So as a storyteller himself, even though he isn't an artist, like you said, he can direct a movie very easy. So whatever we got to do, fam, again, he first for he to get thumbs up.
I agree with that.
Straight.
I agree with that. That is smart.
If you don't see the flowing improper, we scrapping it and doing it again. It go past two heat before we do anything else. Straight. I seen it here tonight.
Agreed.
100 direct. That's how I feel. I put my stamp approval on it.
Listen, I just gotta say I want more. First and foremost, I will say firstly, I want more. Secondly, I want more. Thirdly, where the next issue is, hurry up. The combination of Nigel, Tristan, and Matthew as well, even the cover art.
Oh yeah. Let's highlight
absolutely
that.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy. So I nothing but good things to say, especially knowing for sure that Nigel's the one that would have put together the webtoons. Sir, you are a beast.
Yeah, like I feel like that is
beast. Tristan is still a statement dog, but use a beast.
Yeah, so that's Matthew's cover art there. But I think that is
dog too.
That is
let's just be clear. Tristan and Matthew are two statement dogs. They want dumping in holy water at some point because they're just too nasty, like for real.
Look at it, bro. Look at it.
Yeah.
And also, if you think that this is just the beauty of what you've seen, trust me, there's more to come when it comes to Matthew and his storytelling. Because we've been in the circle of seeing what we have seen for this story. And for Stray Dogs and the sneak peeks that we've seen,
sexy.
We need 2 and in the month shows to actually tell you exactly what we think about it. That's just saying.
I ain't gonna lie, right? Like my mind is so blown now. All I hear thinking is, what is Nigel going to do when he gets his hand on Indigo Child? Because we've seen like full page panels for that. Exactly. Imagine him like picking it apart now and doing the webtoon version. I am gassed up, like I'm legitimately excited.
Because there's a scene, I don't want to spoil it. We've seen before with the truck inside. That's all I'm saying.
You know what this reminds me of? Remember when Marvel first started dabbling in motion comics? and they would take their print comics and then like pull them out to make motion comics. So they'd be voiced, and they would have the panels, and they would have like little effects and
Yeah.
stuff. I feel like this is in that vein. We gushing too much.
Yeah.
We're being
Yeah,
fanboys now.
We passed that.
The
point.
Diary of a Stray Dog, available on Webtoons. Check it out now. The Wounded and Indigo. So this is the tragedy of Ruby Pixel. The Wounded and Indigo Child are coming soon. Follow our boy. Follow it. I am gassed up. So men, moving on.
Premium.
Pop culture highlights. So this is the part of the show where we speak on some stuff that happened in the general pop culture space that's resonated with us in the month of August. I got quite a bit that I am willing to talk about, so I'm gonna go last in case that we don't steal any of you guys' stuff. Who wants to go first?
All right.
Y'all watch anything
Well, let
interesting?
me go first. Let me just go first because there's two things I want to segue into early.
Talk
So
to the men.
as you already know, as that Marvel has started their series What If, which takes properties of what their IPs and different stories and actually what if this question, because it takes 1 point to actually say we go in this direction, but if you have done something else differently, you go another direction where it causes another branch or tail of it. So anyway, me rambling all out just to say this. What if Sharon Carter actually was Captain America, or in this case Captain Carter was the first episode, which is really nice. The second episode, what if T'Challa was Star-Lord? And I bring that up initially today because today will mark the first anniversary of Chadwick Boseman's passing today, and
Rest in peace.
it gives me rest in peace, and it gives me a lot of perspective of what if he was Star-Lord and what that story would have told. So that for me would have been something I would love to see, even though he got to do it before he had passed, because obviously it's a cartoon and it's animated, and he had lent his voice to T'Challa one more time for us to see in this rendition of who he would be Star-Lord. And I love that actually. I actually love it for itself though, because whatever T'Challa would have supposed to been, he would have been great at easily. And Peter Quill being Star-Lord is just bullshit. He is just, let's just be fair. Peter Quill is just a douche. He is trash. Come on, no. Peter Quill is just a dunce. Ego could have put his sperm. Ego could have put his sperm somewhere else inside the universe, all except for Mary. Like really, like come on, no. Like you're just like come on. The whole reason they failed is because the Star-Lord got too emotional.
This is true.
Let's be clear.
This is true.
All this shit happened because of Star-Lord just happened. Oh my God, where is she? Seriously, full of grit. Get some balls. Grow a spine. Kill the man, then get the shit over with, and then cry afterwards. Like, come on, you should. Anyway, straight from the point. But either way, still, he did a very good job of doing it, and I love the idea where it takes us from what he could have been. Either way, still, he could have been somewhere else being a diplomat. T'Challa would have been great at a diplomat doing other things for Wakanda. Simple as that. For me, I love that idea. I love the story. And the third episode of What If was if the Avengers never became the Avengers, whereas that all the Avengers were assassinated just right before they were actually recruited to Nick Fury, which was super intense. The only peeve I have with it is like, it is just for spoiler alert. Just letting you know now. If you didn't watch it, go watch it. It was Ant-Man actually Hank Pym who actually did all that. He just went berserk crazy and just killed him before it could even happen. I'm like, I love the idea of who done it setting, but when it revealed it was Hank Pym and he did it because of revenge, I was like, Okay, it was a bit weak, but otherwise than that, I could give it a point where like it's alright. But I give it, I give that episode a 7 because of the ending. But otherwise than
Mm.
that, it was solid. So if you haven't watched it, please go watch What If, Marvel's What If. Subscribe to Disney Channel if you got Disney Plus. If you can get something to get you that point, go watch it. I guarantee of that you will not be disappointed. Except for Star Lord being Star Lord, Peter Quill.
uh that is legit. That is legit. So what about you, Ian? Anything interesting going on with you this month?
No, not this month. You could go ahead. I've not really gotten the chance to read taking too much this month, or at least
Oh
anything
wow.
new. So yeah, outside of like what if, then yeah, this month has been a pretty quiet month for me reading. So I
Fair
go
enough,
ahead.
fair enough. Yeah, I know you've been working real hard, so that's understandable. So
Eh,
my
That's right.
two pop culture highlights. I watched the final season, I guess, of Netflix's Transformers: War for Cybertron. So
Hmm.
this isn't to be confused with the I think the High Noon games or High Moon games that came out on like the PS3 and Xbox 360, which were amazing. Um, this is an alternate continuity, and it kind of retells the. It feels like very G1, so it kind of retells the
Mm.
initial war for and fall of Cybertron with a new spin on it.
hmm.
The season one, which was War for Cybertron Siege, came out a while back. Then there was War for
Hmm.
Cybertron Earthrise. And what came out this month was War for Cybertron Kingdom. That was the final season, and it kind of wraps up the entire arc, the death and the rebirth of Cybertron. I
Right.
really like the old game, so this was a new spin on that particular story. I I loved Siege because it painted Megatron as not just a batshit crazy maniac. Like Megatron is a tyrant and he is like a warlord, but he had a justifiable goal. He wanted to
Mm.
reform a planet that was unfair and unjust, that had inequality, and that it it benefited a class that he wasn't from. His people were seen as second class citizens, and he wanted to change that. He wanted to remake a world where his people were at the top of the food chain and people who had oppressed them were at the bottom of the food chain, or ideally wiped out. It painted Optimus as not just this goody two shoe guy who never did the wrong thing. He was forced to make like hard decisions to counter Megatron. Megatron was going to wipe out all Autobots, like literally commit genocide, and
Okay.
Optimus had to destroy Cybertron to save his people. So it was rough, and it so no one was like
Okay.
100% in the right all the time. So season one was amazing. Season two was kind of shaky. It wasn't bad, but it got kind of floofy and wonky because Transformers it's mostly sci-fi, but the deeper you get into the lore of Transformers, the more magical it becomes. It starts to get a little fantasy almost, even though it's in a sci-fi universe. So season two is where they delve into that. They start doing like some interdimensional travel and start focusing a bit on the mysticism of the ancients of Cybertron and their abilities. And season three, which is what came out this month, it goes completely off the rails. It was like at first they're trying to tell like this really deep, gritty story, and I feel like at the beginning of season two, men
Hmm.
were like, "Nah, this is for Transformers fans. We are just gonna make this the fan service season." The men brought in the Maximals and the the Predacons from Beast Wars. What was the bad guys from Beast Wars? The Predacons, I think.
Yeah. I think it
So
was
Really?
Predacon.
yeah, like the man brought in the Beast Wars characters. You finally got Galvatron and Nemesis Prime showing up and whooping some ass. Like the story got batshit crazy. It was
It was
lunacy.
just they
So
throw everything at you.
yeah, so from like a pure storyline perspective, it wasn't the best. But if you are a fan of Transformers, it was for you. Like man, just like we're just gonna take all your favorite characters, all the heavy hitters, throw them into the same show.
Hmm.
And to me, it's the only Transformers series I remember ever. the only one I remember at least to have the good ending. So at the end, spoiler alert, at the end of these 3 seasons of Star Transformers War for Cybertron, we go through the War for Cybertron, the fall of Cybertron, the destruction of Cybertron, the exodus into space. We land on Earth. We do a bit of space hijinks, and then we come back. We recreate Cybertron, and both the Autobots and Decepticons are all alive. So it's literally, if you were playing the video game and you beat the game 4 times, you did all these side missions, and you beat the secret boss, you got the good ending. This is Transformers, the good ending. I thought that was amazing. It actually caused me to go back and watch. Yeah, man, I recommend it. If you like Transformers, check it out. It's not the best storytelling. It's a little goofy at times, but it's made for Transformers fans. I think it's the first time that we're going to get the good ending of Transformers, which is great. It actually made me go back and start back rewatching Transformers Prime, which is an old animated series from like 2010. This is definitely a kid show. It's not like deep storytelling or whatever, but I think that continues the story from the War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron games, which I think are, if it comes to pure storytelling, not pure fan service, when it comes to pure storytelling, War for Cybertron and the Fall of Cybertron games are the best Transformers has ever been in motion. So like the comics have been good, but in terms of like movies and animated series, they're either the Bayverse, which is dubious, it's just explosions, but it's like it's candy. It's not good for you. It's not good, but it tastes good. The Bay movies, and then you got the cartoons, which are good, but always with that, it's made for kids. Caveat, so it's never as good as it can be. The games to me were like mature, very strong, very good storytelling, and it does a good job. So Transformers Prime apparently continues that story. I think back in the day I watched season 1 but never finished it, so I'm going to finish that this month. So that's my pop culture highlight number 1. Check out the War for Cybertron trilogy on Netflix. It's pretty good. I also watched The Witcher: Nightmare of the Wolf, and that is a prequel to the Witcher games. And bruh, that was hot shit. So it tells a story about a new character that you wouldn't be familiar with if you just played the games or watched the Netflix series. It's a prequel to all of that, and it's amazing. The animation is really, really good. The art is solid. My only qualm with the animation is, again, it's Western animation, so it's not going to the actual action scenes aren't as good as you would get in like AAA class anime. But it's still decent. It's perfectly serviceable. The fight choreography is good. The animation quality is decent. It could use some in between frames here and there, but it's solid. All the characters to me were really well done. The main character was mad likable, even though he was a douchebag. The main villains are sympathetic, like you understand why they are the way they are. So that it's not like these goofy, stupid villains that they're evil for the sake of being evil. I recommend it wholeheartedly. I won't give any spoilers because it's really, really new. It just came out like this week. But if you like The Witcher, watch it. I recommend it strongly. Oh, The Witcher is also like very grounded. So Geralt has magic, but it's not like super powerful magic. Mages in the Witcher universe are broken, but because of the style of storytelling, you don't get to see them being broken as much as you might think is reasonable for their universe. Nightmare of the Wolf, it makes Witchers busted. Like their magic is strong, and the scope of combat is big. Mages, you see mages being as ridiculous as the lore suggests they should be. Like they do attacks that cover acres. Like men are deaf. You see like big fire magic spells, massive illusions. They like transporting huge monsters over great distances. The scale and the scope is good, and the action is fast paced. It's very, very frenetic. It's really, really good. I have genuinely no qualms with Nightmare of the Wolf. And you know me, I like to nitpick things long, but Nightmare of the Wolf to me is like a solid. I recommend this to anybody. If you like fantasy, if you like dark fantasy, if you like Witcher specifically, if you like what's it called, Sword and Souls, like Dungeons and Dragons style stories, check it out. And it's still low key kind of wholesome. Like the main character is a douchebag, but he has like a romantic interest, and they kind of concert at the end, and it's a good show overall. So those are my two picks.
Julian,
Check out Transformers: War for Cybertron and Witcher and Nightmare of the Wolf, both on Netflix. Good stuff.
Julian, Roun talking about characters. Roun talking about
Look,
characters, big man. I ain't
look,
talking about romance.
man. Look,
Listen, Witcher,
Uh-huh.
and this Nightmare of the Wolf must be it, because this man is talking about characters.
check it out, B. Like,
This
I
whole
genuinely,
entire
I
episode,
actually like people.
this whole
Wow.
entire episode, this is the end of August. Has to be
August is saying
definitely
no.
something we need to
Oh, I was talking
treasure
about children being
Uh-huh.
good characters. No, he got good
Uh-huh.
characters and romance and Witcher. Yo,
To be
You
fair,
hear, bro?
this child had a cybernetic arm and a knife, so he's my guy. But yeah, nah, man. If you do your stories right, I can get behind certain things that I wouldn't normally like people and them having feelings and shit. You guys got to do it properly.
Yeah,
Do it good.
Partial
Do it good.
this is something to treasure. So therefore, I'll be looking back at this episode every time it's about.
Yeah,
There's
save this video, people. Save this video.
Well, I got makeup for 2 weeks ago where I talked about punching Jacko Black, so we got to try that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
On that
So
note,
that's it for me. Before I let Julian do the wrap up, this is just a segue into I'm very keen on the process for the conversion of comic books from print to the webtoon format. And
Yeah.
knowing that Alan did that himself, we can go pick my boy's brain. So no promises, but if we can swing it, I
Yeah.
think next month we definitely need to get Nigel on the show to talk to the people, my
Yes.
guy. I am perplexed and impressed simultaneously. So if we can swing it, look out for that next week. An interview with the man, the legend himself, Nigel Lynch. We can try to bring that to the people. I
Early.
think that is it for me. So Julian, you want to shout out the show tomorrow, the after show? Tell the men about the
Yes.
anthology. Anything else?
So, as you already know, the Xion Network variety show comes every Sunday at 5 until 7. And then every end of the month, there will be me, the host of the Xion After Show. But instead of it being on the Art of Mohz IG page, we are moving to the Xion Network page itself. So we can keep everything consistent and everything going flowy and everything. So tomorrow at 7 p.m. or 7:10, depending on how we spin it, and instead it happens. I am going to be hosting the after show on the Xion Network itself. So it's gonna be fun, an hour long with me talking to you, the viewer, about what you love about the show, anything you want to highlight, anything that you might miss about the show, or anything you just want to spit. I just, be free to say, well, almost everything, because you still gotta be politically correct, because we live in these hard times of culture, of cancel culture. So, just saying. But there's that. The anthology is coming very soon. The first should be out very soon. I'm working on it because boy be doing a lot of stuff and and doing stuff in the backgrounds and he's working soon because Sean will kill me if I don't finish it very soon. Yeah, maybe. But anyway,
Yeah.
but within that we have a whole set of stuff coming soon for like September to December. Well, of course, because I've known the fans have been very, very eager to see the lovely show what they've loving so far of the network show, and we just do it for the love for the fans because without y'all, we want to have a show. We do it for you, so this is just all the love. So thank you so much. I'm entirely and humbly grateful for each and every one of you who subscribe every single Sunday to us. And we'll keep having a better show for you every single Sunday. So yeah.
All right, that sounds great. Ian, you got anything you want to shout out before we go?
Nothing for me. Keeping it quiet, keeping it cool. Just trying to, work on some stuff in the background, but nothing really to shout about yet. So, keeping it cool.
Well, I know that you got big
What's
things
that
going on in the
thing?
background, so I'm looking forward to it. Um, I guess from my end, just letting people know that the Horsemen are working on a comic to be included in the Zion anthology. So keep an eye on the Zion Network social medias for that. Once that drops, you're gonna see your boys in action. So that'll be hype.
Yes, sir.
Um. Oh, Mark said shout outs for the recommendation for Tressy. I think that was my recommendation for a month before.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, man. So trying to bring you guys the good stuff with Jessica, not with us. I gotta bring you guys the eclectic picks. So hopefully you guys can check out Witcher, Nightmare of the Wolf, and Transformers, and see some good stuff. But yeah, man, I think that brings us to the end of our show. We're actually on time today, which I think
Very
is
much so.
amazing. Yeah,
Amazing.
so shout outs to the Zion Network. Thank you to Sean Aline for giving us this platform so that we can host This Is the End for you guys. Shout out to all the people behind the scenes, to Kioma, the Rain Minister. Glenn, welcome back to the land of the living. Now you got a big boy phone. Jason, who's always in the background giving us lots of help. Sun Rock, Mikey, thank you all the time. The Horsemen. Shout outs to Julian, your boy Mohz, Horseman of Vengeance. Check him out at The Art of Mohz. Ian, your boy Def. Check him out at Dracanima_art. Me, War, check me out at The Art of Roun. Check out Cam at Art of Jin. JIIN because he got me special. Check out your girl Jess at Blonde Bombshellings, your resident horsewoman of chaos. Thanks to the guys from Beyond Publishing. Alan/Nigel, keep up the amazing work. You continue to blow my mind. Tristan, you know that you doing what you need to do. Keep doing it. Your art is amazing as always. Matthew is somehow still improving, getting better by leaps and bounds. But he started ridiculous, so I don't know why he's pushing the envelope. But Matthew, for sure, keep doing what you're doing. Things are amazing. Shout outs to the entire Zion Network, all the people behind the scenes. Shout outs to the viewers. Yeah, I think that's everybody. So as Jessica would say, be safe, wash your hands. Anybody else wanna add anything to that?
Well, yeah, I didn't wash your ass too, because that's important.
Of
saying.
course. We
Good.
couldn't have anything more to say.
'Cause
That's
why
it for us, guys. Good night.
not? Peace.